How many of us were taught that to play a mode, you just pick a major scale of your liking, start on a different note, and boom, that's your mode. Play a C major scale starting from D, and well, you're now in D Dorian. To me, that is not a super helpful way to look at modes. Playing a scale up and down the neck or keyboard isn't very musical, yet this, super unmusical way of thinking seems to be the most popular way to teach modes. The way that's been most productive for me to think about modes is not as being different starting points within a given major or minor scale, but as major and minor themselves with flavorful twists and alterations. But don't worry, I'm not gonna just tell you that modes are about colors. Major and minor are the two main tonalities most of modern music is divided between, and the way most of us have been taught to think about music. And that's not entirely without reason, because from the very first chord we hear in a song, our ears prepare to hear a special set of notes with relation to that first chord. That special set of notes is the major scale. This being the case, modes can be thought of as ways to twist our expectations for that special set of notes, or key as it's also known, established by our very first chord. So, with that in mind, let's lay down a framework with an assumption and a numbering scheme. Our first assumption is what we just talked about, which is that our ears always default to the key our first chord introduces. That is, if a song or a section begins on, say, a C major chord, our ears will automatically assume we're in C major, or if a C minor chord, the key of C minor. Now, let's encode a scale, say again C major, with a numbering scheme, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that each represent the notes of the scale, in the case of C major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, respectively. Now, when a song starts on a C major chord, our ears immediately prepare for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern, or specifically, they prepare to at some point hear the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B if we're in the key of C major. If you play a D minor chord immediately after that C major chord, your ears just say, well, okay, we're still in C major because the D minor has all the notes I was expecting anyway. This is a big reason why the whole modes are just a different starting point with respect to the parent scale approach is problematic. It assumes that the key, or the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expectation, has already been established, in this case C major. So playing a D minor just sounds like a normal part of the parent key rather than giving any particularly Dorian-y vibes. If you play a D major instead of a D minor though, what happens then? Well, something, in my opinion, a little magical. Your ears start to freak out a little bit because that D major introduces an F sharp, but your ears are expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and instead get not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern, but a 1, 2, 3 sharp 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern. This sharp 4, F sharp, tells your ears that you are now officially in the C Lydian mode. Now, why am I jumping between calling one thing a key and the other a mode? The whole idea of a key, the reason why we only have major and minor keys rather than, say, Dorian or Lydian keys, is the expectation for that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern. Being in the key of C major is the same as saying your ears expect the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Being in the mode of C Lydian is the same as saying you were expecting C, D, E, F, G, A, B, but you got C, D, E, F sharp G, A, B instead, you big idiot. In this sense, a key is an expectation, and a mode is a surprise based on that expectation. Anyway, I think I've talked enough. Let's start gluing things together with some concrete examples. In The Lost Woods from Ocarina of Time, the song begins on an F major chord, preparing our ears for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern in the key of F major, namely the notes F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E. The melody wastes almost no time pretending to be something it's not and immediately plays a B natural instead of a B flat, meaning our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expectation has been twisted by a 1, 2, 3 sharp 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern, since B flat is the fourth note in the F major scale and has been sharped, putting us in F Lydian. Here's what the song would sound like if it were well behaved and met our expectations for a nice, clean, relatively mode-free sound with a B flat instead of a B. Now here's the song as it normally is. This sharp 4 is called a characteristic tone, and every mode has its own characteristic tone or tones. You can tell from that example just how powerful that sharp 4 is and how much brighter it makes the sound. Likewise, let's say we start on a C and follow it up with a B flat major. The C chord sets our ears up for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern in C major, but the B flat dumps on it immediately and then turns it into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flat 7. The Mixolydian mode, whose characteristic tone is, you guessed it, a flat 7. Most people would file Cokery Forest from Ocarina of Time under the major sound, but it actually spends most of its time in the Mixolydian mode. Here's what Cokery Forest sounds like normally, going from C major to B flat major. Now here's what it would sound like if it obeyed the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern rather than its normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flat 7. It sounds a little bit like circus music, doesn't it? Such is the power of modes and their characteristic tones. The common thread that determines a mode is a point of reference, a starting point, be it the start of a song or a new section, so that your ears expect the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern, and then introducing some direct, sneaky violation of that anticipated pattern. In Lost Woods, it was the B natural after an F major chord, and in Cokery Forest, it was a B flat after a C major chord. Modes are about contrasts to the expectations set by the key you've established by your opening chord, or whatever you perceive the home note to be, which overwhelmingly often is just the first chord of the song or new section. This way of thinking is reflected in how you see some sheet music written as well. Looking back at Cokery Forest, notice how the key of the song is C major, or the key signature is in C major, and all of the B flats are manually notated rather than just being written in F major to account for all the B flats. This reflects the idea that Mixolydian is a variation of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pattern and is accessed by setting the expectation for C, D, E, F, G, A, B, then throwing it under the bus with a flat 7 or C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat. Now, there are loads of really cool techniques to capture these characteristic tones. Lydian's characteristic tone is sharp 4, Mixolydian's is the flat 7, and so on. And things like vamps from C major to B flat major are examples of that, but I'm going to save that for a separate video. If you're curious though, 8-Bit Music Theory has a great series on the topic called Capturing Scalar Sounds, which I'll link to below in the description. Anyway, I know modes are a challenging topic to both learn and teach, so hopefully I succeeded in places where some others may have failed. Like I just mentioned about saving cool modal techniques for other videos, the goal of this video was just to prime those who might not be entirely comfortable with modes so that they can follow along and get the most out of upcoming videos about the cool ways modes are used in some of our most beloved video game music.